Hello and welcome to Cupid, a visual novel. I chose this game because the description really excited me, because you think about Cupid as, well, it's about love, it's like kind of anime dating sim thing, but it's not at all. Actually, it's really it's supposed to be really hard, really heavy, tackling really heavy subjects like rape or like a person being mistreated badly and that kind of thing. So if you are sensitive to any of those subjects, you may not want to watch this Let's Play. I also turned the major filter off to get the whole experience. Maybe I have to pixelate some stuff, I'm not sure where this leads me. But yes, let's just make this experience together and start. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. There is no need to explain. It's only natural. A mother loves her daughter more than anything else in the world. He hates you, doesn't he? A whole lot of them despise you, don't they? Chasing you into the forest and gouging a hole into your leg. All because you smiled at their husbands. And you know what? You deserve it. You freak! You disgusting, horrible, filthy little girl. Didn't I tell you to stay away from them? You never listen. Serves you right, for being the little slut you are. But you don't have to worry, my darling. It's all right. Even if the whole world wishes you dead, I promise you this. Your mother will always be by your side. The priest. My goodness, child, whatever has happened to you? A girl was slumped in the doorway, soaked by the rain. Her legs were covered in dirt and blood. She lifted her head upon hearing the priest's voice and stared at him with blank eyes. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. She hobbled forwards, her bloodied leg giving way. Automatically, the priest rushed forward to steady her. Years of spiritual training had prepared him for the most unexpected guests to this church. He sprang into action. He ushered her to a pew, brought out some clean cloth and antiseptic, and began to bandage the wound on her leg. Yet throughout all this, he found that he couldn't take his eyes off her. He would be gazing at the roll of bandages in his hand, deciding how to tie them, and then, out of nowhere, he would be staring into her eyes. Even with all the mud and grime smeared across her face, he couldn't deny that she was absolutely beautiful. How old was she? 20? 18? 16? Her face was so young. The priest had long since aged past his desire for the opposite sex, but somehow something about her enraptured him. When he realized his own thoughts, he quickly steered his mind towards other matters. My child, what happened to you? She seemed to take all the time of the world before responding. He looked at me. Looked? He looked at me and he touched me. And then he started to kiss me. At first, the priest didn't understand. Then he realized with a jolt of anger what she meant. It was happening more and more often nowadays. The young men of France these days were spirited, uncontrollable ruffians. A lady walking home by herself one night would be prey to a few number of them. Lust. One of the 7 deadly sins. The one the priest personally despised the most. Furrowing his brow in sorrow, the priest laid a hand on her thigh. You are safe now, child. God's house is a sanctuary for the faithful. I don't think he'll protect me. He looked at her in confusion. You see, Father, I have sinned again. Right there among the pews, before the altar of God, she bowed her head. I'm sorry. Was she apologizing to him or to someone else? Her hair hid her face and her eyes, and the priest could make neither head nor tail of her. He suddenly realized that his hand was still on her thigh, and he hurriedly drew it away. I'm sorry. She repeated the phrase over and over. After a while, the priest got up. Don't fret, child. You are not to blame. I will contact the local constable, but in the meantime, you are free to make yourself at home here. I will fetch you a hot drink. He patted her head and left go to the back room. He patted her hand and left to go to the back room. She remained seated on the pew, her head bent forward. As the priest's footsteps faded away, the entire church fell into silence. Now that it was the dead of night, the clouds covered the sky. Barely a sliver of moonlight filtered through the stained glass. The girl sat alone in a ring of darkness. She opened her mouth. No, I know. If I may say my piece, surely... Yes, mother. But he is so very kind. Oh, I get to choose. So I'm her mother now. Haven't you learned your lesson, idiot? Or I fear for your safety. I will be a nice mother. I will not call my child an idiot. I fear for your safety. Child, follow mother's words and leave. You saw the look in his eyes, didn't you? You cannot stay here. Even a man of God can stain you with the filthiest colors. But be a good girl and follow mother's words. But it is cold outside, mother. The rain has not let up. Can't I stay? No. Or, all right. I think she can stay. But if I choose to stay, and the priest is going to do something that I don't want, then it is my fault. But I think she should stay. The church, after all, is the safest place right now. I suppose you can. But you must be wary of everyone in this church. Do you understand? You are so weak, my darling. You give my heart so much pain. I'm sorry, mother. I will try my best to stay out of trouble. How am I going to mind you like this? You attract so much misfortune everywhere you go. This is all your fault, or my poor child? Why should it be her fault? My poor child. My stupid little girl. Always a blight, aren't you? Whatever will you do without me? I'm sorry, Mother. Thank you for always guiding me. It's all my fault. The girl sat in silence. Mother was all right. Mother was right, after all. She was always right. Everything was her fault. Her fists shook with a mixture of fear and conviction. She had to do penance. Mother, give me strength. There is something I wish to do. The girl rose from the pew. In front of her was the altar, and on top of the altar was an ornately decorated cross. It was as wide as her head, and the tip of the cross had been crafted such that it was razor sharp. She left the pew, knelt briefly, and then walked over to the altar. Whatever you have in mind, don't do it. Don't tell me. You're quite sure you're doing this? The girl's arm trembled even so slightly. What other way is there for me to atone? She picked up the cross. Oh, my darling daughter, Mother is proud of you. Slowly, she brought the sharp end close to her face, so close that it hovered just above her left eye. And then she... Ouch! Why would you do that? Chapter 1. The Star and the Rose. Oh, nice atmosphere now. A scruffy young girl in tattered clothes peeked through the open gates of Château du Sommeil. Oh, we can't really see her left eye. Maybe she hurt herself that night. I'm pretty sure about it. Let's see what happens next. An afternoon goûter was being held in its gardens. People from high-class estates strolled around the manicured gardens while chatting loudly with one another. There were beautiful ladies clad in silk and velvet, their necks adorned with pearls and jewels. A variety of foods was displayed on the tables. The girl stared at the food. She hadn't eaten properly for the past few days. Are you hungry, child? Or we must not linger. It's both not very friendly. I guess I'm not a very friendly mother. Not at all. Are you hungry, child, my dear? Yes, Mother. Oh, she's called Rose Girl now. Don't you worry. Mother will provide. You do not need those high-class foods anyway. They will upset your stomach. Now, we've stayed long enough. Let us leave. Surely we can look around for a bit. It's still a little early. There was something else that called to her, other than the party itself. She walked to and fro from the gates, peeking at the crowd, despite the urgings of her mother to leave. Just a tiny glance would be enough. The girl smiled at the thought of him. The owner of the chateau, the Marquis de Gouel. The little girl was drawn to him. He wasn't the same as other people. He seemed different, somehow. Oh, and she's blushing. It's cute. He was kind to her and would always hand her food when she delivered flowers. Her heart felt at ease with him. Oh, I've got to be the mother again. He is the same as everyone, or I do not care for him. I do not care for him as the nicer thing, because then I don't lecture here about anything, no? Right? I do not care for him. But I wish you would stop ogling some man like a common whore. Man, mother. I just want to see him, mother. What for? What good does his presence do you? He makes me feel that there are still good people in the world, mother. There are no more good people in the world, child. It is hard to say. It is hard to say. Of course, dear. We do not know the real intentions people have. One can hope that real charity exists. But even good people will always put their needs first. Even your precious Marquis. Don't you think I'm a good person, mother? Of course I do. Of course not. Of course I do. Child, you are special. Haven't I raised you such? Haven't I raised you as such? I have tried my best, my dearest. Yes, mother, you keep me right. I love you. The girl stared at her shoes and looked around for a bit, hoping for just a glance before she left. And there he was. There was no harm in looking, she reasoned. She would never enter the Marquis' world. Let her heart be filled with hope. He turned his eyes in her direction. Did he smile at her? The girl's heart stopped. Did he recognize her? She beamed. Court lady. My, is this creature deaf as well as dumb? It might be, poor thing. Mademoiselle. A voice called to the rose girl. She gasped. It seemed that somebody else had noticed her presence. She turned to leave. No, my dear. Poor little creature. Don't run away. Oh, Charlotte, she stinks. Don't touch her. Came to crash the party, little urchin. You hungry? Her stomach gave a low grumble. She was always hungry, it seemed, no matter how much or how little she ate. Encouraged by the kindness the Marquis had shown her, the girl approached the women.